Cell phones, a lifeline for entertainment, communication, and information. This is especially true for teens and young adults. According to a 2021 census, 88% of teens aged 13 to 18 own a smartphone, with an average of 8 hours and 39 minutes of screen time per day. This could all be coming to a halt, though, due to Governor Murphy and his proposed cell phone ban in New Jersey public schools. We asked West Orange residents their opinion on a possible cell phone ban and whether or not they think a ban would improve or impede the town.
Today, I am officially announcing my support for a new proposal that will direct school districts across New Jersey to adopt policies that ban cell phones for our K through 12 classrooms.
An idea met with thunderous applause at Governor Murphy's final State of the State address last month in Trenton, blaming phones for being a disruption to children's education, poor mental health, and fueling cyberbullying. Teachers at West Orange seem to agree with the governor, citing cell phones as a major distraction for students. Dr. Jim Wiedenborner, a teacher at West Orange with a zero-tolerance policy for phones in his classroom, agrees with the governor's statements and views a phone ban as an improvement.
I think it has a negative impact, whether they have them on them or not, because students seem to be thinking about their cell phones all the time. Well, I think that when they have their cell phones in class, then they're probably not be attending the lesson as well as they could be, because they're thinking about what's going on with their cell phone. And we know that cell phones, the algorithms for all the social media on cell phones are anxiety driven, because the research shows that when human beings, are caused to be anxious, that brings them back more to see whatever it is that's causing them anxiety.
How do you think a ban would impact students' overall social interactions, like between teachers, between each other, just overall their demeanor, mental health, things like that?
I think it would have a very positive impact. I say to my students that in a way, this band that I have in my classroom is a gift to them. They get to be free of their device. They're something that's an addiction to some degree for the entire period. And so if it's banned throughout the school, I just think that students will get the quality of the relationships they build with each other and with the teachers will be enhanced.
But while this teacher agrees, it seems students share a different opinion.
I don't think they would go with it. I don't think anyone would go with it.
Do you think a ban would help the school, like students be more productive, or do you think it would make them more distracted?
Distracted, because they're gonna find ways to do other stuff. So like go on their Chromebook and then just go on some other stuff.
I honestly think it's kind of stupid. I mean, granted, there is some times where you're not supposed to be using your phone, like during school, but I feel like most students kind of understand, like, when you're allowed to use your phone and, like, when you're supposed to use your phone. And then if they ban phones, it's like, God forbid, obviously, if there's ever a situation where you need to get in contact with your parents because of an emergency, it's like, what are we supposed to do then?
You need your phone, when you're in school, because, you never know, what could happen. So, banning cell phones, it's crazy, I don't know why.
We spoke with Principal Guerrero to discuss the potentials of a phoneless future.
I think it would have its pros and cons, like anything else. It would be a tall task for administration, for students, for staff. But, there's definitely some positives and some negatives.
He also touched on how parents would be contacted in case of emergencies.
As someone who, remembers a time when there wasn't any cell phones in schools, or people just didn't have cell phones, you would go to the offices to call home. Would be the way that we would encourage communication home.
If a ban were to be imposed on the school, how could you see administration go about enforcing that type of ban? As we've had student reports saying that if there were a ban, they would try their hardest to evade it, or they would not properly follow conduct.
Yeah, as a father of an 11-year-old who just got her phone for the first time, I'm taking away a cell phone is a major blow to a young person's life. Obviously, like I said, this is hypothetical because we have not had these conversations. And I have researched a bit some different school districts that have tried to implement this, and although some of the schools that I've read on are not like us in that they're much smaller, hence easier to enforce potentially. But some schools have invested in those, I don't even know what they call them, those little like pockets that you would use when you go to some concerts. Or,
The yonder pouches.
yes, pouches to do it that way. I don't know with with a school as big as ours with almost 2,100 students, if that were to be possible. So that's a great question. I'm not sure how we would go about doing that, but it would, like any policy of this magnitude, it would require cooperation by everyone, the administration supporting our teachers in the classrooms, and also our teachers enforcing the policies in the classrooms as well.
Overall, do you see a ban with our student size, the pure magnitude of West Orange High School? Do you see a ban being feasible at all in the near future?
I think anything is feasible. Although I don't know that I would want to necessarily ban cell phone devices completely. A part of me also feels I'm very conflicted on the topic. A part of me feels like this is a part of our lives, and we should be focusing on how do we teach students and adults to be able to live in a world and in an educational setting where education and cell phones can coexist.
Of course, this proposal will first have to be approved by lawmakers before being handed down to each school district to decide how they want to enforce the ban. For now, it's too soon to tell if the policy will even be approved, but what we can see is a clear divide in opinion between the student body and administrators. Nina Davis with TB36 signing off.